All right. One thing I wanted to ask you actually is I've noticed on your Instagram you very well done, well polished um capturing people in their elements, I feel like. So I wanted to ask you before you did I don't know if you've always done portraits or if it was more trial and error, but I wanted to know basically um what made you kind of like decide to do more like person and element. How do you go about it?
I mean, for me, it just kind of like I don't fully know if there was a point where I decided I'm going to take photos of people, and
Hmm.
that's what I'm just like that's the vibe. But it's definitely something that, I've come to it's the most recognizable piece of my photography is just my work with like photographing people. Um, I think it just came from a desire to at first photograph my friends. And then after photographing my friends, it was that I, you know, I just brought my camera everywhere with me. Um, and I would take pictures of everything. And I still do. So, like, I have a lot of photos that are of random stuff. I got like
Yeah.
trees, I got like abstract stuff, I got, nature, which is just trees, but other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like, I got industrial type photos. I've got like a whole bunch of stuff. But the thing that I always felt I did the best, or at least the most consistent, was just taking photos of people. And I think, I don't know, I got confident at just going up to people and just like on the street and just being like,
Really?
hey, I love your beard, for example. Like, I love your beard. Can I take your
Yeah.
photo? Like
Yeah.
or the light's hitting you like so nice right now. Like, can I take your photo?
Yeah.
And at first I was nervous somewhat, but then that just went away to where I could go up to anybody, and if people say yes, well, I'm gonna take the photo. If they say no, cool. Like it wouldn't even phase me either way.
Yeah.
Um, but I would just see these photos in the wild, and for the most part, they'd be of people because, you know, once you like people are pretty easy as far as like a subject to shoot versus
Mhm.
like you want to shoot like an inanimate object that might be fixed to a position. Like you might not have to light the right way, whatever. But with a person, you can just be like, move here, stand here, do whatever, take a couple
Yeah.
pictures, and you go. And I just fell in love with taking portraits of people I would meet and come across.
Okay.
Um, And I just think that, of all the photography I have, that's the stuff I feel most confident about. And that's also the stuff I feel like I just have a lot of fun doing, with different casts of characters and different people. And a lot of the time that's the type of photography, not that I like looking at necessarily, because I look at a bunch of different stuff, but like different photographers I might have books from, or
Mhm.
especially when I started, like I was really big into Wolfgang Tillmans.
Mm.
Um, and I got into like looking at his stuff literally just like through like Frank Ocean, because I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this photo's sick. What's the photo? What's the cover of Blonde? Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. It went down a rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and his portraits of people are just like stunning to me. And I was and especially when I started, I was like, I want to do that. And then it developed from like copying to I like to think I have a style somewhat of my own way, but I don't
I
know. I
think you
just
definitely have a style because like I look at your feed at least like when I see your photos come up at least, and they're very like depending on the portrait even like some of them is like portrait person like either blank canvas or portrait person in like their element, and I feel like you capture that very well. Of like a person like wherever you're at, like this person is in this element and it goes so very well together, you know what I mean?
yeah, I do. I mean, to me, the way I think about it, um, at least in my head, because I started like I fell in love with film, like cinema film. like movies and that sort of thing. That was
Oh,
that was
really?
my go-to.
Mhm.
Um, and I just would always have like ideas for scripts and stuff. Um, and I thought of stuff in a very cinematic way. So when I take photos, um, I just, I don't know, to me, the photos that work best are the ones that feel like, this is a still from, not necessarily from like a scene in a film, but like say a movie scene is happening right now.
Yeah.
This character is living their life. They have for just a brief moment paused for me to take a photo of them and they're continuing. And there's like a cinematic element to that. Because I think that I don't know, people show so much character through what they wear
Yes.
that I just fall in love with, the idea that I'm capturing a person in the middle of their like little movie or little story.
Their
And
little
like
short
if it
film.
works, it works. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Speaking of ideas, though, I also want to talk about something you were a part of, the Hughes magazine. I wanted to ask you, um, so kind of a two question type thing. One, how did it start? And two, um, how did you like get the idea and actually follow through with it? Because I know a lot of people like they'll have an idea. So for example, like, oh, I make a zine, I want to make this, I want to do that, right? They'll have an idea, but then won't actually follow completely through with it, or like something will stop them through it, like halfway through it, from actually putting it out. So I want to know, how did it start, and then how you, um, I guess, started and finished it. Like not like the process, but like how like mentally, like you just started it as like a group and then pushed it all the way through till it was out.
I mean, you know, like the idea kind of dates back to, um, truthfully, I'm trying to think like if there's a starting point. Um, I I started taking photos in like the fall of 2019.
Mhm.
So I'm still quite a newbie, to be honest. But like that's when I picked up my first film camera and just fell in love with taking photos. But even as I started taking photos, like I didn't want to like make a zine. Like that was never something that I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. So I was
Yeah.
always very critical of my work. I was like, I don't have good enough stuff because I mean at that time I didn't like I was starting, right? But I wanted to do some kind of collective piece. And with all of my friends that, I had in university and that I had made through, university friends, Leroy being, one of them.
Hmm.
His really good friend Adam lived on my floor in first year, and like him and I are really good friends. And Leroy came by and met him, and we just clicked, and like we became like really close. And I was like, oh, I got all these great, talented people who, Leroy does. He takes great photos. I have friends that, are designers. I have friends that like do theater stuff.
Yeah.
I have friends that, make really great music. Like what's something that, can be done to put it all together? And I had this idea. I was like, I want to do an exhibit. I want to do an art exhibit of a bunch of work that, um, you know, uh, it was like a collection of work representing what it's like to grow up in the new millennium as
Okay.
told by people who grew up in the new millennium. So like people
Yeah.
who were born after the year 2000 talking
Yeah.
about what that's like. And I mean there's like some, there's some wiggle room there as far as ages. But that was like the
Yeah.
big idea. And I hopefully still like to do it. So if anyone takes that idea, I'm gonna hurt you. I'll break your
Hurt you.
kneecaps.
It's as simple as
Uh,
that. You're getting dropped.
yeah. But like that was the idea, and I had it. I was like, oh, I love this idea. Like it's super cool, super sick. And I was at a really weird spot in my life at that
Mhm.
point. Like I had a lot of family stuff go on. I went through a breakup. I went through two breakups actually.
Wow.
Uh, it was a lot happening,
A
and I
lot
picked up
happening.
a film camera as a Like I just need something to pass the time.
Yeah.
And I saw that Most Def, or Yasin Bey, as he goes
Yeah.
by now, had an exhibit for like his new album. And I was like, oh, I didn't know he had a new album coming out. And I looked and it was that you could only go listen to the album at one of his exhibits.
Really?
And this one happened to be in Brooklyn, New York. And I was
Okay.
like, oh shit, like that's so sick. Like, I've always wanted to go to New York. I'm at a weird point in my life right now. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Brooklyn. And I made the
Wow.
decision at 3 a.m. and I decided I was gonna do it. And I talked to different friends and didn't really hear back from anybody. But then it was like 2 weeks before I was gonna go, and I was like, this exhibit, it ends like a week after my birthday. I'm gonna go for the weekend of my birthday, of my 19th birthday. I'm gonna go to New York. It'll be
Wow.
great. I've never been to New York City before. Never been to Brooklyn before.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do it. And I remember I texted my friend Emma,
Mhm.
and I just said, "Hey, do you want to do something crazy?" And her response was like, "I always want to do something crazy." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, we're going to New York in 2 weeks." And she was like, "Heck yeah, we are." And
Perfect.
we jumped in my car. Two of her friends came as well, just to ease them expensive Airbnb prices for New York.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
God.
but they had stuff that actually they were doing in New York too, so it worked out. And we went, for basically 4 days, but the first day was 12 hours of driving.
Yeah.
Then we had 2 full days there. Then the last day, which was my birthday, was 13 hours of driving,
Oh no.
which I did outside of like a couple hours on the way there. I did all the driving the whole trip.
Oh my
So
God.
which seems like it would suck, but man,
Yeah.
like driving for 13 hours on my birthday, like that was really fun. But it was
Yeah.
on that drive back that Emma and I started talking, and we both wanted to do like some kind of creative project and have a bunch of people come together and contribute work to it. Both had this like idea, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." Yeah, and I told her about the museum idea, or the not museum, the exhibit idea, and
Exhibit.
she
Yeah.
told me about wanting to do have like a collective of like people with different skills. I was like, "Yo, this is basically like the same thing," and it was awesome. And then a few months later, COVID hits, and I'm back living in Collingwood, which is the small town that
Hmm.
I've been in since I was like 13. And Emma was also living in Collingwood. She's back home with her mom, and she's a
Okay.
few years older than me. And it was the first time in like 5 or 6 years that we were both in the same place
At the same
for
time.
like a long period of time.
Oh, okay.
And at the same time, and we were like, let's do something. And we started like shooting more. I really dove into photography a lot and just fell in love. And it grew to the point where we were like, oh, well, I have this great friend who does this. She knew Leroy as well because I introduced them. And
Hmm.
Leroy takes photos. This person takes photos. My friend Caden takes photos. And Jenna does art. And Sierra does art. And Rachel's a really good writer. And we could do this, we could do that. And it was just, oh, let's make a magazine.
So kind of like connecting
And
the dots of like people, essentially.
yeah, and it was just like, hey, I got all these friends and I got all these really, really talented friends, and I want to use their skills, and I want all of us to come together and make something that we can all be proud of, and make something that like, you know, it features us individually, like our work. So I was like, I don't have enough work that's good to put into full, if I want to do a
Full zine yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I got like some cool stuff, and Emma's got some cool stuff, and Leroy's got some cool stuff,
Yeah.
and we all just started doing it. And it was August of 2020 that like we I started, and I'd never used InDesign before,
Oh
and I was
God, and
like,
design's scary.
right, and I was like, I'm gonna learn InDesign, and that's when I made like the project file, and that's when I started designing. I was like, oh, let's do let's do 50 pages. Oh, let's do 70 pages. Oh, we have enough work. Let's do 90. Oh, you know what? Let's do 100, 120, 140. Okay,
Wow.
160 is the max. And then we ended up going to 188 pages. And
Wow.
from August 2020 to August 2021, literally a year, we worked on it. And it was difficult. It was hard. We had some really great support from people who sponsored the magazine, some businesses in Collingwood, and we had 18 different artists contribute work to it. And like it's a magazine, but it's thick, like it's a book basically. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's like a
crazy.
book. Because like a zine, I feel like at least with like zines like these days, I feel like a zine's like tops like 50 pages, like 30 to 50 pages. But this is like a zine, but also like a collective. It was I feel like it's more than just a zine. It's like more like a collective of many people coming together and like making something rather than a zine's mostly like one artist. There's a narrative and it's
Mhm.
like tops 50 pages. This is like many zines into one kind of book more so.
Yeah, and like that's literally it. And what was interesting was because like when I started working on it, I just didn't really. I was like, oh, this is like a cool idea, but I don't know what to do. And earlier on that summer, I think it was like June or July, I had, saved up some money. I got lucky. I was able to work through, through early COVID,
Yeah.
um, which was, great. And I had saved up some money, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy the Boys Don't Cry magazine. I'm gonna buy Frank's like magazine. Like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I bought it, and I remember just one day I was just looking at it, just sitting on my shelf, and then I was like, oh wait, I started looking through it. I was like, oh well, there's some stuff here from this person. There's some stuff here from this person. There's this person. There's oh, that's cool. Oh, this is like a bunch of different people, like all coming together. That's kind of what like we're sort of doing. Not saying it's anywhere like
Yeah,
similar, but
you're gonna be like, yeah, this is what we're doing as well. Like kind of comparing,
yeah,
but more so like general ideas similar.
yeah, yeah. And it was like a curated collection of work that, you know, individual pieces, if you just look at them side by side, maybe don't fit together, but they
Hmm.
flow together and like they make sense as a magazine that's really like a brick. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is great. And I was just like, this is what we're doing. And that was like the inspiration for like the form that it would take. And it was just working on it for, literally a year and, putting pieces in, taking pieces out, having like, oh, like I know so and so who's a great, artist, let's put him in. Or, oh, so and so is a great, writer, let's put her in. And it ended up being that it took form and we did some interviews in it. We spoke to this girl named Ruth, who's indigenous, and she talked about generational trauma after living in a living with her grandfather and learning about his story
Hmm.
of having been in a residential school. And we learned like there was so much stuff there. I was like, wow, this is really impactful and really important because my grandmother was in a residential school, but
Hmm.
like I have no connection to like being indigenous at all because she didn't know she was indigenous until she was 50. When her older sister
Really?
was like,
Wow.
yeah, when her older sister tracked her down, I was like, we're indigenous. My grandmother was like, what?
Right.
Excuse me.
Pardon?
Um, yeah, but like, so it was for me personally, I was like, oh, this is a really impactful piece. But we talked to Ruth and she talked about how, living on the reserve and her grandfather's story, and it was really impactful. And we paired that in with pieces about first love and
Hmm.
photography of youth culture and that sort of thing, and we came up with the theme for the magazine to be transitions and to be the transition from being young, being a kid into adulthood, and all the complications that come from that and the difficulty. And we framed the whole of the magazine under that, and it worked. But it was just really coming up with an idea that we were passionate about, having a bunch of different people who were able to contribute to the project and give their work, not asking them to like, hey, take on this big job that you're not interested in. It was just, you
Send
know,
us here what you got already,
yeah, like
or so,
send
and
stuff.
like input this and input that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like, how do you want your page to be designed? Do you like, is there anything specific? What do you
Hmm.
want this to be called? You know, your photography is awesome. Like, I love this. Could you, with the theme that we're going for? Um, I feel like yours fits into that. Like, would you be interested in contributing some stuff? And, yeah, that'd be great. And just people that were interested in the idea. Um, and so long as people are interested in the idea, as long as you work and like put in the effort,
Yeah.
which is easier said than done, like
Hmm.
you can work your ass off and
Still have
nothing will come of
nothing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were lucky. We had a lot of great supports, and you know, Emma, myself, and Caden, who's another friend of mine who helped us a lot working on it. We just decided, we're going to put our head down and work and just make this happen. And it took a year, and it
Hmm.
was difficult, but we came out with a product that was. Uh, I'm really proud of what we said artistically, um, what we have as far as like an actual product, and I don't know, man. It was a really really great process that was incredibly difficult, but that I would do again in an instant.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you actually, was there any setbacks, or was there anyone like for example, was there any setbacks in a sense more so of like you like shot the idea at someone, they were like, oh, like, that's not gonna work, or you had like some people kind of like doubting um kind of the frame of it when you brought it up to them.
I mean, the main thing was like, hey, we want to do a print magazine, and people being like, what? Why? like, like, why are you gonna do a digital component? We were like, probably not. No. And they're like, why? Like, we live in a digital age. Like, what are you doing? And we're like, well, we wanted something that you could hold in your hand and that you could feel and that you could sit with. That was like that was our goal, but it took some convincing of some people, and not as far as like the artists go. Everyone who
No, yeah.
contributed was like, yeah, I want a book. Like that's cool as hell. Like I want to be able to hold it. And like they got that, but it was when we went to different businesses to sponsor it, and when we worked like just different organizations, it was like, oh, this is gonna be difficult. This is gonna be like, why would you do this? That was the main issue. I mean, as far as everything else, it was just it was just you know getting through the you know building it all out and feeling like, is it ready? Like, is this good? I don't know. There were so many things that were like in there that were taken out or that were added late. There are some pages in the back that I literally did the night before
Oh
I
my
sent
god.
off the magazine at 8 a.m. to get printed. Like I was just like, it's literally just, it's funny. It's funny for if anybody has it or wants to get it.
Yeah.
You'll see what that page is, but it's literally just like I took a pen and I took a piece of paper and I drew with pen on paper and I wrote some
Yeah.
stuff and I scanned it and I put it in and I was like, this is
This
sick.
is nice.
This is, but like, it was literally down to, stuff was changing all the time and we just had to be fluid because, we had done an interview with somebody who ended up not wanting to have that interview featured, and I had
Mhm.
to reorder some stuff and section it. And then, it also just comes down to we did it over a year, and that was a really formative year as far as creatively for myself and for Emma and for Caden. And even like I don't know, like Leroy too. Like
Mhm.
his work in the past year and a half has I'm like so proud of his growth as an artist. Like it's
Mhm.
incredible. But everyone, we all grew a whole bunch. So it was like we had these pages full of work that, you wait 3, 4, 5 months and it's like, oh, that's sick, but like I have this new stuff that's crazy. It's
Yeah,
like,
I got this new
uh,
like crazier set. Like I might want this now.
yeah, like it was crazy. Like it was really it was like, wow, holy shit. Like we can't even keep up with our own like creativity like to print a magazine. Um that was just kind of the yeah, it was just an ongoing growth and development and being fluid with, you know, some people will get the idea, some people won't get the idea.
Yeah.
The idea might change, it might grow in its size. You just got to be fluid. I think that was the main thing we all learned was just, you have to
Like
be
it's
willing
kind
to
of be
change.
consistent and like push through, even though like there might be some setbacks, there might be some like hiccups in the situation, but just being consistent with the idea and pushing through it no matter how long
Yeah,
it takes. Because even for some people, I think like a zine or like a book, even it doesn't take that long. But like from your story, it takes. I'm not saying like every zine's gonna take a year, but like it took a whole year, and you had multiple people working on it, and multiple people, multiple people's work. Like even for a solo project, like it could take up to like years. But I feel like people just assume it like it's fast. It takes like a few months, easy to print, this and that. But I think with your story, at least like with the story of the magazine, it'll show people that it doesn't just happen like within a week or like within like 2 months. Like it's work put in before release.
yeah, like that was really the thing too. It was just you can, the timeline on something creative can be, you can get it done in a few weeks or it'll take you years. And in this case, it took us a year. And we were also flexible enough to decide, okay, we're not going to set like a strict deadline. We had deadlines like we want it done by this day, like that were, they were fluid too. They moved, but um, we just waited until the time when we felt it was ready and it was good. Um, and once we held it in our hands, we were like, yeah, this is good. This is the right thing, and this is what we had in our minds when we first talked about it, when we
Yeah,
had the idea. Like could I put together a bunch of my work in a zine in like a weekend and have it like ready and done? I mean, like I have enough work to where like yeah, I probably could, but I don't know if that's going to be, is it going to be what I want? Is
as
it going to be like the
developed as
time
the
I
scene.
invest?
Yeah,
Yeah, and like the best thing that we do with the magazine would be like we work on it like crazy for, a few months and then let it sit for like 3 weeks. And none of us would like we wouldn't really talk about anything.
think about it, talk
We,
about it.
yeah, we wouldn't look at it. Like the project file wouldn't be opened. And then a few weeks later, open up the project and scroll through it again and just have a pair of fresh eyes and realize like, oh, like this works or this doesn't work or this page ordering needs to be different. Because like page order, like ordering of like pages, like what goes
Hmm.
where is crazy. Like that's something that I didn't realize, but like it's tough. Like
Yeah,
because you're crafting this experience for like someone who's gonna, read it and take, they're gonna spend money, which is important, but like they're gonna spend their time on it
mhm.
and making it something that is worth, someone's time and the value of someone's time. That's important. So just give yourself the time to really digest it and let it sit and look at it and go over it and, you know, be happy with it. That's what's important.
One last question, actually, I want to ask. You mentioned that you had some sponsoring from local. I was gonna say brands, but I guess it's more so like businesses. Um, how was that? How did you go about that? Essentially, like how was that conversation even? Like how was? It's like bringing it up to a business, like a local business, even and getting that sponsorship. How was that conversation like, and how did you find businesses that was actually willing to um sponsor it and be interested in this first of all idea and zine?
Um, honestly, it was a lot of work because what we did at first was, we came up with, all right, it'll probably be this many pages. We got like a rough quote from the printer we used, and it's not cheap to print stuff, especially
Hmm.
right now. Materials cost a lot of money and that sort of thing. So it was just coming up with like, all right, what was our budget? How much money do we need? All right, that's cool. How much money can we throw in personally? Okay, cool. Throw that in. Then we worked with a uh, an educational group called Elephant Thoughts, which is local in the that is based out of Collingwood, but they
Uh,
help literally all over Canada. They
really?
run programs specifically for underprivileged schools, underprivileged communities. They work a lot in Indigenous communities. They're like really great. And I had done work with them in the past, and I approached them about what the idea was, and they really liked it. They contributed you know, some funding towards it,
Mm.
and we then just like climbing a ladder. You just, all right, okay, this is what we have, this is where we're at. Went up that step, we're gonna or that rung of the ladder, we're gonna climb to the next rung, and the next one was, all right, local businesses that might be interested. And we reached out to a lot of people, and a lot of people said no. It's a tough time. Money is short with you know there are
Covering it, yeah.
lockdowns, there's everything going on. Like you know it's not a it's not necessarily a prosperous time as far as for
For
restaurants
businesses.
and for businesses like that. But we talked to people, and we were able to find some people that were interested, that really liked the idea, that knew some of us. The other side of it was that we were based out of a small community, and you know if you've done stuff within that community, which I've done some pretty big projects in Collingwood and the area. So
Hmm.
I have a good reputation with me, and we had some good local partners that helped as well. So it gave us some credibility, and people contributed money to help us succeed. But it was a lot of emails, a lot of calls, a lot of meetings, and a lot of them went nowhere. But um, the cards fell right in the right way that they should have, because we got everything we were looking for.
Yeah, I feel like the rollout of it, because I remember 'cause before I even knew about you, before I knew like it's about the whole idea even. I remember I think Leroy posted it and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is cool. I feel like even the rollout of it was done so well. I feel like with like even the whole story you just told us, it's just like pieces just kind of flowed together with time.
Yeah, and like I appreciate hearing that, because I felt the rollout was it was okay. I feel like we were all just really tired. Like that was the main
Yeah.
thing. Like there was, oh my gosh, there was so many just issues, and then like just stuff that happened with getting it printed, and then delays and stuff. But like when it actually came out, and when we did stuff, like I wanted to put out more. We released like some promo videos. I have
Mhm.
a bunch of stuff that like I've shot, but that unfortunately never ended up being edited for that. So for me, I see it as like, oh, like there could have been so much more. But I also recognize that like,
Limits.
you
Like
know,
there's like everyone's kind of like maxed out on E. Like
yeah, exactly. Like it was a long summer of just getting it done. So, once we did get it out and did get it made, like it was awesome. But yeah, a lot of people, if they knew me, but they didn't know Emma, well, now they
mhm.
know Emma because, there's this magazine and I'm posting about it.
Yeah.
And oh, someone like you, like, Leroy, but you don't know, me. Oh, now you
Yeah.
know me. Or someone knows Caden, or someone knows Claudia, who's a really talented writer that contributed a poem. They
Mhm.
know Claudia, but they don't know the rest of us. Okay, now you know. Like
They're
it
just like
made
an
for
everlasting just connections, just like, oh, you don't know them, but you know me. and boom, 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 just connections over and over.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It was just like, oh, it naturally just grows and forms. And I'm really proud of what we were able to do and what we have done, with it. And I think it's some of the, as far as like the promo videos, I think they're some of the best pieces of editing work I've ever done because
Mhm.
I'm really proud of them. And I'm really proud of just like the effort that went into, the release and just everything like that. Like it was really something special. I'm really proud of it.
All right. On that note, though, I'm gonna wrap things up. John, help the people where to find you, where to find the magazine as well, since we've been talking about it so much.
Yeah, we definitely have. Well, you can find me at jj.cardillo. So jj.cardillo on Instagram. I post all my photography on there. I also have a website, johncardillojr.com. That's where you can find, some of my portfolio stuff, a little bit of my background in in filmmaking and videography. I've got, you know, uh, what else is on there? This is stuff. There's like projects I've done and some
Beautiful work.
publicity
Beautiful work.
stuff. Yeah,
Stunning
mwah,
images. Stunning things.
great stuff.
Um,
If you want to purchase the magazine, you can go to mb7.studio. You can purchase the magazine. It's still available now. We still have some copies. Or you can go to mysterybehind7.com. They both go to the same place, but mb7.studio is really easy. Yeah, just you can do that. You can follow me. You can look at my website, look at the Mystery Behind 7 website, purchase the magazine, and let me know what you think.
go get yourself a magazine. Go check out the man. Go in his comments. Let him know what you think. Um, but thank you, John, for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Everyone go check out his stuff. Everyone go check out the magazine. Go get yourself a magazine. Lovely body of work. I'm actually going to buy one after the show. Um,
You don't
but
have
yeah,
one yet?
I don't have one yet. I was at the time,
Heartbroken.
bro. I'm sorry. At the time, I didn't even know when it was dropping. This is like on record. I did not know when it was dropping, and then I saw it dropped, and then I was like, oh, and I just forgot about it. I'm being real, but like, listen, after this whole conversation, I'm gonna keep it real. After this whole conversation, I'm copying it right now. I have the website open, my second monitor right now. On God.
Oh my
So
god, that's
yeah,
so funny,
I've had it pulled up this whole time. Um,
bro. I don't worry.
I just had to
It's
mention it
okay.
because it's just funny. But
No,
yeah,
it's okay. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh,
you
you
didn't
have
buy
your
my
own
magazine,
podcast.
bro. Whoa, yo, listen, bro. We have issues now, bro.
Yeah, like what? Excuse me. Like, I don't care. Like, if you buy it, you buy it. I appreciate you like the support, and I appreciate that sort of thing. If you don't, you don't. Like, I remember when we brought like released it, like it was like, oh, I don't really have the money right now, or whatever. It's like if you can
Yeah,
support and buy it, like do it. If you can't, like that's okay too. It's a piece of work. It's gonna be around forever, so
yeah,
get it and enjoy it if you can. And I think you might relate to it too. So.
yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you guys next week.